Denver 7 Investigates is uncovering the stories of Colorado's ghosts. They were born here in Colorado, but on paper, they don't exist. Thank you for staying with us here on Denver 7 News at 5. I'm Jessica Porter.
And I'm Natalie Chuck. Our consumer investigator, Jacqueline Allen, joins us now live in studio. And Jacqueline, you spoke with people who say that Colorado's unusually strict birth certificate laws and rules really shut them out of a normal life.
That's right, Natalie and Jessica. I heard from one woman who says because Colorado's refusal to give her a birth certificate, she feels invisible. No driver's license, health insurance, or proof she is who she says she is. Now, as unbelievable as that sounds, our investigation found she's not alone. Colorado Legal Services and Abigail sued CDPHE in district court and lost, but they are appealing now to the Colorado Court of Appeals, and they're waiting for a date to be set. So Natalie and Jessica, she says the first thing she would do with a birth certificate is get a driver's license and get legally married.
Denver 7 Investigates is uncovering the stories of Colorado's ghosts. They were born here in Colorado, but on paper, they don't exist. Thank you for staying with us here on Denver 7 News at 5. I'm Jessica Porter.
And I'm Natalie Chuck. Our consumer investigator, Jacqueline Allen, joins us now live in studio. And Jacqueline, you spoke with people who say that Colorado's unusually strict birth certificate laws and rules really shut them out of a normal life.
That's right, Natalie and Jessica. I heard from one woman who says because Colorado's refusal to give her a birth certificate, she feels invisible. No driver's license, health insurance, or proof she is who she says she is. Now, as unbelievable as that sounds, our investigation found she's not alone.
After 6 tense days under the Gold Dome, Colorado's special session wrapped up tonight. Thanks for joining us tonight on Denver 7 News at 5. I'm Micah Smith.
And I'm Jessica Porter. Glad you're with us. It was a week dominated by high-stakes negotiations and drama. Lawmakers wrestled with the state's budget shortfall, managing to find a way to close a nearly $800 million gap. They also sparred over the future of artificial intelligence regulations before punting on what would have been a first-in-the-nation push to regulate AI. And we witnessed a rarity, the potential political censure of a lawmaker who ultimately resigned while under fire.
Colorado Legal Services and Abigail sued CDPHE in district court and lost, but they are appealing now to the Colorado Court of Appeals, and they're waiting for a date to be set. So Natalie and Jessica, she says the first thing she would do with a birth certificate is get a driver's license and get legally married.
Another budget cut concern, this time coming at the state level tonight, an attempt to solve a $250 million funding shortfall. Governor Jared Polis said he would cut down department budgets. More than 31% of that pie is coming from health care. A letter sent to families last night, school leaders promise increased security once students do return. That includes a full-time school resource officer, a full-time armed Jeffco security officer, and dedicated patrols in the Evergreen area.
We'll see how it goes. And this turf is made from surprising eco-friendly material.
Denver 7's Maggie Wolanski joins us in studio to tell us about the new product in the turf and what it's made of.
Jessica and Shannon, it's called Brockfill, and it's made of tiny wood particles that are manufactured here in the United States. It's an organic alternative, making it good for the environment, and it also makes the field cooler to play on. I went up to their headquarters in Boulder to see what it's like.
Well, we live in a digital landscape, and it demands that everyone, including older adults, know what to do to protect themselves from online fraud.
Yeah, and data from AARP shows that $4.9 billion was lost to fraud in 2024. That's up 43% from 2023. And older adults filed more internet crime complaints than any other age group, 142,000 in just 12 months.
So tonight, Denver 7's Colin Riley is hearing from several older adults about a solution they're pursuing to better protect themselves and their families.
And we know Aurora City Council's public comment rules are confusing with all the recent back and forth changes, so we wanted to break them down for you. Back in February, a measure was introduced to manage public comment during meetings. In May, Council voted to limit podium access to one speaker at a time during public comment. Then in June, Council voted to suspend in-person meetings and public comment until Kylan Lewis's lawsuit is settled. In July, they passed a motion that re-adds listening sessions, but voted not to bring back in-person meetings. Last month, they passed a motion to begin council meetings 10 minutes after public comment listening session ends, but no earlier than 6:10 p.m. Tonight, they're expected to vote on a resolution to ratify that motion.
Hacienda Real mentioned the ICE operation was prompted by an anonymous person reporting undocumented workers. While it can be hard to nail down the exact number of undocumented people in Summit County, here are some statistics I uncovered to add context to this story. So Summit County is home to more than 31,000 people. That is according to census.gov. 8.9% of Summit County residents were born in another country. And of that number, a little more than 75% are not U.S. citizens. Now, the Summit County Chamber of Commerce also released a report recently that showed tourism and the hospitality industry are still big economic drivers in the county. However, the county does still face a labor shortage. So to fill that gap, ski areas and resort companies like Vail Resorts recruit immigrants with the promise of H-2B visas, a visa for temporary non-agricultural workers. Now, these visas are only good for 1 year, with some workers being given the option to extend.
The special session is entering its 6th straight day tomorrow, and the main focus making up for a huge budget deficit.
You asked us just how much of the gap has been filled so far, so we're getting answers and laying out lawmakers' plans tonight. Democratic leadership is proposing a 3-part strategy for bringing the debt down and addressing the nearly $800 million budget shortfall. Part 1, ending corporate tax breaks totaling roughly $300 to $400 million.
And Part 2, tapping the state's reserves, about $200 to $300 million. And the third and final part, allowing the governor to make other cuts he sees fit, up to an estimated $300 million.
But lawmakers are addressing more than just the budget. Denver 7's Brandon Richards shows us what lawmakers want to do about health care premiums, which are set to rise significantly this fall. Thanks for joining us for Denver 7 News at 5 on your Wednesday. I'm Micah Smith.
And I'm Jessica Porter. First at 5, I-70 is back open tonight, but not before an absolute mess for commuters. A semi spilled hydrochloric acid this morning on the westbound side of the highway.
This happened just after the C-470 interchange and caused a huge closure, forcing traffic off the interstate.
First at 5, we now know the names of some of the people killed in a dairy accident in Weld County, including high school student Oscar Espinosa and his father Alejandro, Carlos Espinosa and Jorge Sanchez. 2 workers have yet to be identified.
An FBI agent's worst nightmare. That is how a former intelligence analyst described what happened at Evergreen High School. I'm glad you're with us this Tuesday evening. I'm Shannon Ogden.
And I'm Jessica Porter. A 16-year-old shooter opened fire at the school Wednesday, hurting 2 students before taking his own life.
We are following up with the next chapter in the Firestone water bill saga. The Central Weld County Water District says the town paid a bill of more than $324,000 after months of dispute.
Last week, a Weld County judge referred to the town as the boy who cried wolf for not paying the bill.
We begin with some encouraging news. The condition of both students who were shot at Evergreen High School Wednesday have improved. Tonight we are following up on the confusion around vaccines and just who's able to get them. Now, Denver 7 viewer Pamela Maloney reached out to us. She said, I went to King Soopers and inquired about getting the COVID-19 vaccine. I was told only people over age 65 or with an at-risk condition could get it. Now, those are the FDA guidelines, but the state of Colorado stepped in and they opened it to everyone.
First at 5, the investigation continues into Wednesday's shooting at Evergreen High School that has shaken our community.
And as we come in the air right now, we do have some encouraging news for you. The conditions of the 2 students in the hospital have been upgraded.
Sweeping spending cuts for Colorado as Governor Jared Polis attempts to solve nearly $1 billion funding shortfall. Thank you for joining us for Denver 7 News at 5. I'm Jessica Porter.
And I'm Micah Smith. A projected $783 million budget gap at the center of a dramatic special session filled with heated debate across the aisle landed in the hands of the governor. So today, he unveiled his solutions via an executive order. His plan cuts roughly $103 million in spending from 8 state departments and redirects another roughly $149 million in cash funds from state accounts.
Tonight, Denver 7's Brandon Richard is following those funds and letting us know where we'll see some of the biggest cuts.
More than 24 people charged today with connections to the notorious Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. Thank you for joining us for Denver 7 News at 5. I'm Micah Smith.
And I'm Jessica Porter. The U.S. Attorney's Office for Colorado filed 2 federal indictments charging 30 people. Those charges include drug trafficking, firearms possession, and conspiracy to commit murder for hire.
This is a story Denver 7 has been closely following. It was this time last year when Tren de Aragua started making headlines in the Denver metro. In early August, the Aurora Police Department announced it was launching a special task force to investigate the gang's connection to the city.
Rumors and speculation took off when this video went viral out of Aurora, showing armed men knocking on doors at the edge of Lowry apartment. It sparked allegations of a gang takeover. Months later, ICE announced that some of the men from the video were linked to TDA.
President Donald Trump campaigned in Aurora in October, heavily focusing on the TDA gang and its presence in Aurora. Trump claimed residents were being forced out of their buildings. That claim was refuted by Aurora's police chief, who said, quote, "We are not by any means overtaken by gangs."
Fast forward to March, Denver 7 sat down in an exclusive one-on-one with the U.S. DEA Enforcement Administration. The acting administrator said Colorado was, quote, ground zero for TDA leadership.
Chief Investigative Reporter Tony Kovaleski joins us now. And Tony, you've been following federal agencies' movements closely across the metro.
You join us now live in studio with a breakdown of today's charges, Tony. Governor Jared Polis announcing today 2 solutions to a $1.2 billion funding shortfall created by President Trump's spending bill. Thank you for joining us for Denver 7 News at 5. I'm Jessica Porter.
And I'm Jacqueline Allen. Tonight, Denver 7's Brandon Richard is taking a closer look at how this deficit happened and holding those in charge of taxpayer money accountable. And Denver International Airport is capitalizing on this move today. They're exploring the possibility of building a nuclear reactor to meet the growing need for electricity.
It's an idea drawing applause, but it's also drawing some pushback. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta is listening to the community's concerns and getting a grasp why city leaders believe this is the solution to a growing airport hub.
We begin tonight with toll trouble. We're glad you're with us. I'm Shannon Ogden.
And I'm Micah Smith. A Colorado woman suffered sticker shock after discovering her express toll bill was more than $5,000, even though she's been paying tolls all along.
So she reached out to Denver 7 Investigates Jacqueline Allen for some help, and Jacqueline's getting to the bottom of all this. What happened here?
Well, you guys, I started making calls after Gina sent an email to us with her $5,000 story asking us to shed some light on a problem. Tip. Now, E470 was quick to respond here. They say it's never their intent to collect fees. They want to collect tolls, but they've got some work to do to make sure this doesn't happen to anyone else.
Yikes.
They certainly do. And Jacqueline, what happens if you don't pay these fees and tolls? Can it ruin your credit?
You know, I asked this to E470. They tell me after 3 unpaid bills sent to your DMV address, they send you to collections, but they say E470 and its collection agency do not report to credit agencies, so it won't hurt your credit. However, the DMV will place a hold on your vehicle registration, which is exactly what happened to Jenna before this was all sorted out.